Shalom, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honors to our elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful like Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shabbat Shalom. Isaac Wasap, today's lesson is entitled, The Spirit of Judgment is Heavy in the Earth, and Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the true names of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. As always, the sit downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel, the Most High, and to use the gospel preached. So I got some articles here. Well, not a couple of articles and a couple of videos going into some of the judgments that I've been seeing. And the Lord is only getting started. All right. This is only the beginning. The scriptures speak about the beginning of sorrows. All right. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on, from talks of looming recession to the ongoing cost of living. People are suffering, debt, financial crisis. You have these weird and strange weather phenomena that's happening all throughout Babylon. Here in California, you got these floods and the storms that's causing, major disasters. They said it was about 14 people that, was put to death, but those are the bodies that they found, so that number could go up. You got tornadoes going on in the southeast region. They saying there's about 7 people that died from that. And then you got all these weird judgments going out, from women cutting the rods off of their husbands. You got these celebrities dropping dead. You understand? You got these pestilence happening. The what is it? The bird flu that's causing the rise of eggs to just get out of control. I bought some eggs the other day, and it was $7.99 for a 12 pack. Amongst other various things, that I've been seeing that brothers been sharing and posting in the chat. Little children is being mauled to death by animals. All right. Women is off the hook. All right. Just a whole bunch of different things. And then, you have, these disruptions in the transportation. You had the situation earlier this week with the FAA, the flying, I forget the acronym, but it's basically the flight administration, where, the systems was down and they had to ground all the planes. All right. That happened here in the United States, which is Babylon. And then reports came out that it also happened in Canada. Now, they said they ruled out the possibility of a hack, but we all know that, this is a world stage. You understand? They're not going to, tell us the truth, but, it's a lot of different things that's going on. And then, a train that basically goes from South Carolina down to Miami, something happened in the woods where the train has stopped, and it was upwards of 30 hours where the people felt like they was held hostage and couldn't get out. The dogs and the animals that was on the train, they was defecating and shitting all over and pissing all over the place. So the Lord is just really making things happening in the earth, and things is going to intensify. All right. Now, before I get some of these videos and articles, we're going to hit this in Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter, verse 5. It says, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. When it says just, it means the righteous. It says he will not do iniquity. The Most High ain't going off. All these judgments that we see happening in the earth, people getting put to death, whether small or great, children, old people, middle-aged people, men, women. These judgments are going out because of the sin and iniquity that they have committed, either in this life or in their past life, because reincarnation is biblical. So when you see these judgments go out, all right, as it says here, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. And the Lord controls everything in the earth by way of the angels. So the angels, they go to and fro in the earth. They seeing the different things that's happening, and they going back to the presence of the Lord to report the matter. Let's get that real quick in Proverbs 15, and then we're gonna hit something in Ezekiel, the ninth chapter. Proverbs 15 and 3. The eyes of Yahweh are in every place, beholding the good and the evil. So these are the angels. They go to and fro on the earth. They seeing the different things that's going on, and then they go back before the presence of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua and report the matter. Now, in Ezekiel, the ninth chapter, it's entitled The Vision of Slaughter. There were six angels that came in the presence of Jerusalem, and one angel had a rider's inkhorn by his side, right? And then the other angels, they had a slaughtering weapon. And then, the angel with the rider's inkhorn, he put a mark of exemption, a spiritual mark of exemption upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And then, the other angels, they went after this particular angel to destroy those that didn't have that mark. And they was given commands to slay utterly old and young. I'm just roughly paraphrasing it. But the point I want to get is here in the 11th verse, Ezekiel 9:11, 9:11. And it's a lot of emergencies that's finna be happening. I got another article here saying that the ambulance response times is worse on record, while A&E waits hit new high. So we're gonna go into that too, because as crime is going up, people's getting put down, people's dying. You're not finna get the ambulance response that you need. And this is happening in Europe, but we've seen in the past that things that happen in Europe is a prelude to what's going to happen here. But going back to Ezekiel 9:11, and behold, the man clothed with linen, these were angels. And when angels show themselves upon the earth, they can come as men or terrible, creatures. It says the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me. So the angels, once they do whatever the Lord instructs them to do on earth, they come back to the presence of the Lord to report the matter, you know? So, the different things that we see happening in the earth is the Lord sending these angels out here, these death angels, to bring judgment. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the good and evil, and they come and bring them reports. Let me get something in Genesis real quick. 11. And here's another example of the angels bringing the reports. Now, nations was building the Tower of Babel, all right, and basically there was the NWO of this time. All the nations coming together, and they all on one accord and of one tongue, and they all trying to do a particular thing in the earth. So here at the I start at the fourth verse, and they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto the heavens, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. So these were the inventions of men. They were, trying to conspire and come together with one accord, and to all come together for a particular purpose. And that's what these global elites is doing. When you hear about the Bilderberg meetings, the G2 summits, the World Economic Forum, these different meetings in Davos, Switzerland, this is them trying to come and build a city. Not one particular city, but they're trying to build this world where they all come together. And these is the global elites, or the shadow government, these upper echelon Edomites. It says, and Yahweh came down, which the Lord, he sent the angels down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And Yahweh said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down. And this right here proves to you that these were the angels. All right, speaking in a plural sense. Let us go down. And the reason why it says Lord there, because they're doing this in the name of the Lord. All right. The Lord is telling them to go do this. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their languages, that they may not understand one speech. So the Lord isn't about what is it? Man, what's the word I'm looking for? The Lord isn't all about all nations coming together as one. All right. That's something that the heathen wants to do, and it always fails. It failed during the time of the Hellenistic period, where you had Antiochus Epiphanes basically forcefully converting the Israelites to the Greek manners and customs. And there was a lot of uproars. You had some that was down, but then you had, the Maccabees, Mattathias and his boys, and those that were of like mind, they revolted against that, you know. But Genesis 11:7, go to, let us go down, and there confound their languages, that they may not understand one another's speech. So this is how we got to the point where all these nations they spoke their own languages. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. So the Lord isn't about, you know, uh coming together, all these nations coming together with one purpose, But the point I want to get, how the angels went down there and confounded this. So the Lord controls everything in the earth by way of the angels. And we could have did other examples, but how many examples do you need in order to believe that the Lord, controls things by way of the angels? All right. Scripture speak about 2 to 3 witnesses. Out of the mouths of 2 to 3 witnesses, then you can establish judgment. So back in Zephaniah 3:5, the just Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity, because the angels, they don't transgress the commandments of the Lord. Let me see, Psalm 103. See if I can find something. Psalm 103:20, bless Yahweh, ye his angels that excel in strength. Another title of the angels is the mighty ones, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. So when the Lord give these angels charges, whether they're on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, all right, they hearken unto the voice of his word. They do his commandments. Bless ye Yahweh, all ye his hosts, ye ministers of his that do his pleasure. So everything obeys the will of the Lord in the spiritual realm. Once again, Zephaniah 3:5, the just Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. Every day you're hearing some type of judgment that's going out. And as of late, the judgments have been intensifying, and this is only the beginning. All right, as I mentioned earlier, the scriptures speak about the beginning of sorrows, and Lord willing, we'll get that. He faileth not. So the Lord is on point. But the unjust, these wicked people of the world, the ungodly, know no shame. They don't know what the hell is going on, man. So let's look at some of these articles. These videos and articles. I'm not going to play all these videos in entirety. I may play a couple of seconds of it, but the title pretty much tells us everything we need to hear. It says, mother of 4 falls more than 500 feet to her death at Mount Baldy. So the question is, why isn't she at home with her children? Scriptures speak about women being keepers at home. You out here doing shit that men be doing. And the Lord is going to continue to bring judgment on these evil and rebellious women. All right. Let's see if we can tune in a little bit, see what they're saying.
Out of this, a tragedy on top of Mount Baldy. A mother of 4 and a very experienced hiker has died sliding 700 feet down the mountain to her death. Well, Mount Baldy, officially known as Mount San Antonio, is the tallest peak in the San Gabriels, rising 10.
And what that's doing is you tempting the Lord, man. You know, why are you climbing these big, tall ass, record-breaking heights? All right, what are you trying to prove? You know, it's just all vanity. Like Solomon said, all vanity and vexation of spirit. It's all meaningless. It's all good for nothing. So she gets judged. All right, we're not mocking death. All right, we're just bringing the terror of the Lord and how the spirit of judgment is heavy out there. Next up, we got at least 7 dead after tornadoes hit Atlanta, Georgia.
Parts of Alabama and Georgia. Tornadoes are
Alabama and Georgia.
blamed for the deaths of at least 6 people in Alabama and 1 in Georgia. That's so far. Officials fear that those totals will grow as the morning goes on, and school systems in at least 6 Georgia counties on the southern fringes of metro Atlanta canceled classes today. That impacts about 90,000 students. One Atlanta suburb has even imposed a curfew tonight. Let's go now.
And the reason why they imposed a curfew is because a lot of rioting and looting can happen out of that. So you got this happening over here in Alabama and Georgia, and send up prayers for the brothers that's out there in Atlanta and Georgia, and the Lord gonna protect them. All right, Psalm 34:7, angels encamp round about them that fear of the Lord and delivereth them. All right. So you got this happening in Atlanta, in Georgia, and then over here on the West Coast, you got these severe weather conditions in California. All right, you got mudslides, you got people dying, you got cars floating down the street, you know, houses getting flooded out. You got all kind of different various things, telephone poles falling, power outages, and there's all these different things. And we know through what's written here in the scripts that the Lord, he brings judgment by way of these different weather phenomena. This is Isaiah chapter 28, verse 2. Behold, Yahweh hath a mighty and strong one, which has a tempest of hell and a destroying storm. And that's what we're seeing. These destroying storms, whether it's a twister, tornado, rains, snow, extreme heat, it's to bring destruction. As a flood of mighty waters overflowing shall cast down to the earth with the hand. So the Lord brings these different, disasters, these different destructions, and these weird weather catastrophes. All right, these are forms of judgment. Isaiah 29, verse 6. It says, Thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Even these wildfires out here on the west, California, Nevada, Arizona, different areas, those are all judgments. Now, whether the Lord is doing it naturally or he's putting the spirit on Esau to use these different weather manipulating instruments, at the end of the day, it's the Lord that's bringing it. Because Esau do got some direct energy weapons that he used, his laser technology that he used. He got these different harps that he puts in the sky, and he can cause, rain and shit to happen too. But at the end of the day, man's goings is of the Lord. How then shall a man understand his own way? The point is, the Lord is bringing these so-called natural weather phenomena, these disasters, and we're seeing it. And one interesting thing I want to point out, these disasters that's happening, a lot of it is happening in Northern California, like Sacramento type area. And it's a lot of people of the alphabet community in those areas, the Bay Area, SAC, So it's just worldwide judgment that's happening on a large level. And then you have, these airlines, the LAX airlines still recovering from nationwide FAA ground stoppage, And this could have been a test run. Esau is experimenting things, because what Esau does is he do these social experiments to collect the data. And from the gathering of the data, he knows how to make moves. Like the whole C-19 thing, that was beta testing, you know. That was something that he did so he can collect data. Okay, this percentage of people, they were willing to get this and that in them. This percentage of people in these demographics and these people in these cities and areas, they didn't want to do it. We had these different jobs and organizations that was on our side, that was willing to, act on our part to make this and that mandatory. All this stuff is for Esau and his system and his data and these algorithms and these supercomputers to get all this information. And Esau, he looks at that, and the spiritual demon Satan is working on him. This second Esdras 15:1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. So the prophets out there on the highways and the byways, the men that are rightly dividing the word and truth, that got the spirit on them, starting with our elders and apostles of great millstone, they are divinely influenced by the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the Holy Spirit. As it says here, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So our conversation is supposed to be the prophecies. You understand? We're supposed to be forewarning the people of the things that will shortly come to pass. It caused them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. It's talking about the prophecies, because they're gonna come to pass. It says, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, because you're gonna have a lot of gainsayers, you're gonna have a lot of unbelievers, you're gonna have a lot of people that will come up to try to denounce or discredit or disapprove the message that we're coming with. They're gonna have certain imaginations and thoughts. They're gonna think that things is gonna, somewhat get better here in Babylon the Great. Things are gonna go back to so-called normal. Things is gonna continue to intensify and get worse, and more judgments is gonna go out. So the incredulity, the discrediting that these people come with, let them do that. Let them be scoffers, mockers, unbelievers, gainsayers. Because when the Lord stand up and terribly judge the earth, then they're gonna be wanting to get answers. Then they're gonna want to find the prophets. Verse 4: for all the unfaithful, these are the unbelievers, the 2/3 shall die in their unfaithfulness. So great death is coming. Behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world. So it's the Lord that's bringing these different judgments and disasters and putting spirits on people to do particular things in the world. All right. And like I said, we're not mocking death. We're not doing all that. But what we're doing is we're showcasing the judgments of the Lord, so that will produce in you a healthy dose of fear. All right, because the Lord is to be feared, man. The sword, famine, death, and destruction, and a lot of that is happening. And the Lord gives the reasoning why he's going to be bringing these plagues upon the world in verse 6. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So a lot of wickedness is exceedingly polluting the whole earth. When you got the wicked bear rule, you got the spirit of Esau in the earth. Esau, he's the wicked. Earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. So that prideful spirit, that haughty spirit, that rebellious spirit is running rampant out here. You got wickedness exceedingly polluted the whole earth. And judgments is going out. Let me see. DailyMail.com, wife cuts off her trumpet player husband's rod and leaves a knife buried in a deleted man's eyeball in Argentina before being arrested and sent to psychiatric assessment. So judgment, the Lord put the spirit of judgment on this woman to do the shit that she did. Let me see. let's go to Ecclesiasticus and Apocrypha. I want to say it's 29. Let's see. Man, let's try 39. Bear with me, Akim. You know how it is when you're trying to find these precepts. Oh, yep. Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. All right. The Lord will put a spirit on somebody to bring forth judgment. Like we read here in this article from Daily Mail. Let's keep reading. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwaf that's listening and learning. Shalom. Let me see. Where are we at? Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. Sore strokes, an example of that is somebody beating the shit out of somebody. A stroke is like a punch, you know? Sore meaning painful. So the Lord will put the spirit on somebody to beat the shit out of somebody, you know? But that'd be judgment. Hearing people getting their ass whooped outside, a spirit of vengeance was placed on that individual. In a time of destruction, they pour out their force, power be given to somebody, and appease the wrath of him that made them. So the Lord, you know, he'll have particular judgment that's going out on a certain person, and he may put the spirit on somebody to just bring that judgment. Fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. So these weather phenomenons, twisters, tornadoes, storms, flames, certain areas, you know, having forget what they call them, man. When these fires, you know, rip through these desert areas, all that is judgment. You know, the Lord putting the spirit on Esau, because we're not giving Esau all the credit over here. The Lord puts the spirit on Esau to do particular things. When you read in Revelation 6, it speaks about power was given unto that red horse, which is Esau, to take peace from the earth. So when we hear about the airlines having to down all their planes due to a computer malfunction, you know, we look at Esau because it's in his spirit to take peace from the earth. You trying to get to go see your family, you trying to go somewhere, whatever, and then all of a sudden you can't do it because of the airlines, you know, some shit that happened in the airlines, and that sends ripple effects and a whole bunch of cancellation, flights get canceled. That's peace being taken away from people, man. So we point at Esau. And the spirit from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua was given to Esau to do that. Why? Because we're in a time of judgment. Ecclesiastes 39:29, fire and hell and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance. Teeth, a wild beast, and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. So Lord can put the spirit on human beings to do particular things. He can put the spirit on wild beasts. All right. Pit bulls. You always reading about a story of a pit bull attacking somebody, getting mauled. And that's one of the judgments the Lord been using. Animals. Read about Jezebel. Dogs, they mauled Jezebel. Pretty much ripped her to pieces. So the Lord could put the spirit on these wild animals, whether it's, like I said, a pit bull, a lion, or a bear, whatever. and scorpions, certain insects. I read a brother put in the chat, it was a rat that was in somebody's house that laid on top of one of the kids' face and suffocated them, a rat. So the Lord can use various different creatures to bring judgment. Scorpions, you can add all the other animals, serpents, snakes, you know, and the sword, that's Esau, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, because there's going to be a angel that puts the spirit on a particular person to do this. And they shall be ready upon the earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. They're going to do what the Lord told them to do. We read it in Psalm 103. Go back over there. Psalm 103. It's entitled Praise for Yahweh's Mercies. And it's a Psalm of David. We're going to go to the 20th verse. It says, Bless Yahweh, ye his angels that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his words. Bless ye Yahweh, all ye his hosts, ye ministers of his that do his pleasure. So if the Lord gives an angel a charge, go down there and bring judgment on all these people. As it says here in the 31st verse of Ecclesiastes 39, they shall rejoice in his commandments. There is talking about the angels that will put these spirits on these people to do things. When you read about Judas Iscariot, the one that betrayed the Lord, it said that Satan entered into him to go and do this and that. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. The Lord is going to bring judgments. And we read in 2nd Esdras 15 that wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth. So therefore judgments have to go out. I'm going to go to 2nd Esdras 16 because things are going to intensify. You know, these little 10, 12 bodies that we hear getting put to death, that's just the beginning. This is 2nd Esdras 16 verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning. The scriptures speak about a beginning of these troubling times, the beginning of famine and great death. Scriptures speak about great death. A lot of, man, it's going to intensify. It's going to intensify, man, out here. The beginning of wars, aren't we in that time? And the power shall stand in fear. And the beginning of evils, aren't we in that time? What shall I do when these evils shall come? You know, it's best to, be storing up riches in heaven right now, because they're, you repenting and converting, worshiping the true power, calling upon his name. You're trying to follow after the way of righteousness the best you can. That righteousness will deliver you from death. And the spirit of death is going to be so prevalent out here in these times. Let me see something. Matter of fact, it may be in the same chapter. 29. Ecclesiastes 29:11. Lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profitable than gold. Our treasure chiefly is this knowledge, this wisdom, this understanding. All right, pushing this truth. When you read in Isaiah 33:6, it says, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So we laying up the treasures. We doing the things that are satisfying and pleasing in the eyes of the Lord. And by doing that, as it says here, it shall bring thee more profit than gold. It's twofold too, because it says, shut up thy arms and thy storehouses, save money. And it shall deliver thee from all afflictions. It shall fight for thee against thy enemies. You got you a couple of dollars saved up. You may be in a bind, or you may be in a jam, you having money, it'll fight for you. It'll deliver you out of, certain situations. If you got a flat tire, you got some extra change, you're able to get delivered out of out of that evil. Better than a mighty shield and a strong spear, right? Let's see. And then, as I was mentioning earlier, you got a lot of these celebrities dying, man. Every time you turn around, it's another one being put to death. You just had Lisa Marie Presley. I think this was Michael Jackson ex-girl, if I'm not mistaken. But they dropping left and right. All right. And it's gonna get more pronounced. 2023 is starting off right. So I'm ending it off there, Lord willing. It was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. This has been the spirit of judgment is heavy in earth. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and double honors to our elders and apostles, great millstone. Shalom, Akin. Stay strong.